Hey, what's going on, guys? Mike Patrick, and in this video I want to talk about millennial parenting, okay, and what we should instill in our children being millennial parents. All right, now this rhetoric is going to be coming from a perspective of trying to figure out or trying to remedy things that are really prevalent in society that are negative, okay? Like depression, sickness, dis-ease, and just, I guess you can say, an overall sense of unhappiness, okay? And meaning to life. Now, excuse me, guys. Daddy's on the video. Give me a second. Now, guys, the thing is, in today's time, we are fixed on survival, right? We are fixed on just surviving, not really thriving and living and experiencing, but surviving, right? Now, that would be suitable if we had the opportunity or the chance or the belief that we would live forever. If we would live forever, it would make sense to try to just survive, because you have the potential to live forever, okay? But if you're going to eventually pass away someday, you will want your life to actually have meaning beyond just trying to survive to make it to the next day, because we know that eventually that next day is not going to come. All right, so you want to leave an imprint, a legacy. You want your life to mean something. You want to learn things. You want to fulfill things that may be meant for you to fulfill from a spiritual angle, okay? Things that you are supposed to do while you're here, okay? But you're not here to try to hold on to this life based on the fact that it's not going to last forever, okay? So we have to live with that approach. Now, it's not to live recklessly, even though some of us will do that, okay? Some of us are just thrill seekers and would live like that. But what we have to do, guys, is we have to think about what we are trying to instill in our children now. See, once we understand the things that I just said, we have to reevaluate the way we've been doing things in the past, and we have to ask ourselves now, what do we want to instill in our children? Because the whole survival way of doing things hasn't benefited us on any level, okay? Not the common person, not the average person, not the majority. All right. Survival leads to stress. Survival leads to unhappiness, okay? And survival leads to fear. And the only reason you're trying to survive is because you're fearful of what death is, okay, and what comes next. All right. Otherwise, you wouldn't keep yourself in the position of being unhappy, okay, stressed out, unstable, and all these things of that sort, okay, if you wasn't fearful of what you thought, was next, okay, or what you wasn't sure about, what was next. So now with our children, guys, we have to instill health, okay, happiness and love, okay? Health, happiness, and love. Those need to be the main things that we instill, okay? Not survival, all right? Not materialism, okay? See, when children are first when they're born, and the first, I don't know, I guess you could say 5 to 7 years of their life, that's going to be the most important times of their life as far as how you program them, how they're going to perceive life from there on, okay, and how they're going to operate for the most part. Now, if you notice, and I know this for a fact, children, what they really value at the core of them, at the essence, the most natural part of them, okay, before they start learning certain behaviors, okay, and certain ways of thinking and being taught certain things, all they care about is the affection from a parent, the time they get from a parent, okay? That's what's important to them. And the interaction with their parent. That's it. That's all they care about. If a newborn comes out, do you think it cares about getting a pair of Jordans? Do you think it cares about getting a certain video game? Do you think it cares about having a certain type of fashion, clothing? It doesn't care about any of that. All it cares about is having a mom's breast to latch onto, or a bottle, whatever, and it cares about the affection, being held, being rocked, being kissed, all those different things. That's all it cares about. And then what it starts to care about after that becomes things that, or it is things that it is being taught to think that it's important and significant, and it becomes what I would call fill-ins, okay? So what happens is, many times as parents, we are very selfish, okay? And we think we are doing the best for our children, getting what we want for our children, but really all we're doing is getting what we want for ourselves, okay? And then in turn, we take away from our children because we're spending too much time working, right? We're spending too much time doing other things, working, business ventures, all these things. And then what we do is we try to make excuses and write it off as, well, I'm doing what I got to do for my family or my children. But really, you're trying to do, or you doing what you have to do for yourself, okay, and your ego, all right, because your children will just be fine with just you, all right, with just you and your time and your affection and your interaction, okay. And what happens is, what we'll do though is, what these things can produce, right? If we working all the time, if we're doing different business ventures and things of that nature, we can at least afford to get material things. And so now what happens is, these material things take the place of time, affection, and love, okay? And it's very unhealthy for the child and the person that's growing up, that's going to eventually grow up to be an adult. And what happens is, at a certain point in time, that emptiness, that void never really gets filled. But what happens is, they learn to accept it. Like most people can learn to accept anything. They learn to accept, well, I might not have the affection from my mom, from my dad, the love, the time spent, but I do have these things that they get me in place of that, okay? And then those become replacements